fried.
Do-do-do-do, do-do-do.
Deep
We
fried. Hello?
Hello?
That Melania Trump meme is so funny.
Intrusive thoughts we like.
Yeah. Hello. I had to use it in my newest video, but hello everyone. Welcome back to Deep Fried, the podcasty. Um, I am your host, Kaylee.
I am your other host, Courtney.
Kearney, and we hope you guys are doing well. We are coming to you live from Squadcast, which is like a brand new place that we are trying out our remote recording of the pod. So, hello, how are you?
Remember when
Um,
people used to say squad? Like that was like the word.
yeah, I do. I never used Squad.
Oh, I use squad.
Mm. Mm.
Anyway, sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead. It's your face in the mic. Let me hear it. Ew, that's so nasty. If
I
you're
can itch
watching
my
this,
dandruff scalp.
oh, gross, 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 gross. Please don't. That's really disgusting, and no one would like to see that, especially the patrons. Speaking of, you can watch all of the video versions of our podcast out on patreon.com/deepfriedpod. I'm pointing at you, and if you know this, if you were watching this, we also have more exclusive content on Zive.
On TV.
Yeah, at
Never
least
before
twice a month.
seen, baby.
Yeah, never before seen and won't ever be seen. So yeah, I hope everyone is doing well. You can also follow us on Instagram at Deep Fried Pod for the latest updates and all that stuff. Also, if I'm looking this way, it's because I'm looking at Courtney because we can actually see each other now. Coming to you live. So yeah. Anyways, Courtney, how's your week, ma'am?
Oh, my week it's been one of those weeks that feels really long, you know? And like
Mhm.
I was actually talking to my supervisor about this, about how it feels like it should be like Friday, but
Yeah.
a bitch has been like working out every day for like the past 2 weeks. Today was no exception, and that's why I look disgusting in this video. Sorry to the patrons out there, but this is raw, baby. This is real.
I mean, it is raw and it is real.
This is a phase of someone getting healthy.
I think this is the rawest I've ever seen you. You look like a fucking carrot, a raw carrot.
Speaking of raw carrots, I was actually planning my fall garden while I was at work today because I don't have anything better to do, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited. I really want to plant some Brussels sprouts because I love them and I love
Mm-hmm.
the way they grow like on this weird long stalk. And I want some kale. I
Mm.
want maybe some spinach, maybe some arugula. We'll see. But I'm excited. I love gardening now, so
I wanted to interrupt you so bad, but even the slightest little makes the thing
cool.
crackle. We're having issues, you guys, like last week with we can't interrupt ourselves or else the audio gets mumbled. But I was gonna say yesterday we planned our fall garden too, and we ordered
Where'd you order from?
this website. We ordered kale. We're doing carrots. We're doing lettuce, bib lettuce or butter lettuce. I don't remember. And we're also doing fuck, what else? Something. We also have a fat squash that's gonna be ready in like 2 days. It's like this big.
Oh my gosh. Our butternut squash are so beautiful and I can't wait
Mm.
to eat them. But can you give me that website though? Because I want to order some stuff.
Yeah. We ordered like I want to say like 8 or 9 things. It was like $40.
Do you order seed or like
Mm-hmm.
okay. Never mind
Mm-hmm.
then. I have a website I found for that.
Yeah. I'm really, really excited because my roommate is she's very good at this stuff. And I told her this time around, like my roommate Connor and I, so it's me, Connor, and Anna. Connor is our newest addition, and also Anna's boyfriend, which has been great. It's been kind of weird living with the guy, but it also has not at all. Like I literally walk around with my pussy out sometimes. No, well, no, I don't. But you know what I mean? Like I won't even care. I feel like he's like a cool dude. So it's
Yeah.
like I feel so comfortable now. But anyways, off topic, baby. We were talking about what what we were gonna do, and we literally dug up. So we had accidental pumpkin happen when I dropped pumpkin seeds off our balcony one night when I was wine drunk, and we had 4 pumpkins grow. But then other than that, it started dying. So we literally ripped. It's so much work. It was like 3 hours of work, and it was like getting dark. We ripped up almost everything that wasn't the eggplant, cucumber, and peppers. We have like 8 different peppers. But that is so much fucking work. But it's honestly so worth it, you guys. Even if it's just a small herb garden, I something that I've really learned throughout this whole process is like caring for plants or like a dog or something other than yourself can be so fucking rewarding in so many ways. I know that sounds so fucking corny, but I'm serious when I say they look at me in the face. If you're on the Patreon, you're looking at me in the face. It's very rewarding. Just like feeling I saw this tweet the other day that was like, it's been really rewarding like being a plant mom because like if I overwater my plants, I know I'm doing something wrong. And if I underwater my plants, I'm doing something wrong. So it's really nice to be able to listen and see what your plant needs.
Well, how about that one plant that you're killing right now?
Can I
You
tell
want to explain that to the audience? He is
let me
not this fairy godmother plant bitch. She wishes he was.
listen, bitch, I got 6 thriving plants. The seventh one was a tree. It's a rubber tree. And I got it from like a black owned plant pop-up. And they basically told me that it was growing mildew on the stalk and I needed to get neem oil. And it was the weird part was Courtney talked to me about neem oil a few days ago. Isn't that crazy?
Yes, let me tell you guys, if any of you have any kind of plant, whether it's veggies, whatever, a house plant, spray that shit with neem oil, NEEM oil, if you have bugs or anything, and it will literally cure it of all disease. Like it's a miracle worker. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like $10 at Lowe's.
Mm-hmm.
Get you some, and it's organic, so
Yeah, no, yeah, they were just saying like I basically took a video of the whole plant, like giving it like a little. I was like, "Hey, so I bought a plant from your pop up. Like, what's going on?" And basically, there was this stuff I didn't even notice. It was like this powdery, like mildew, gross mold that was growing on the stalk. And I'm not kidding you guys when I say all of the leaves dropped within like 4 days. All of a sudden, I wake up, there's 20 leaves on the ground. I'm like, "What the fuck is this?"
plants are so picky.
Yeah,
Was it
I
because
know.
you were keeping it too wet?
No, it just has a disease. I wasn't it just got diseased. Maybe from another plant. Also, the plants in our living room do not thrive at all. Like that is the one room, like all the plants, as you guys can see behind me, I have a ton of plants back there. They all are doing so well. Like they're growing triple the amount that they really should be. Like I know there's no reason for the plants to be thriving this much. So I might bring my rubber plant up here. But anyways, we've been talking about plants for 8 plus minutes straight, which is honestly not that bad, especially we have nothing else to talk about in quarantine.
Plants are the best. I literally live for my little plants. Like I have house plants. Like I have my garden, which I love, but I also have like a bunch of succulents now, and I literally go and I touch them every day, and I measure their moisture levels with my little meter, and I'm like, oh, this thirsty, and they're never thirsty because they never need water.
No, that's the great thing about I actually have one succulent and she sits on I actually the funny part is we were getting rid of some um I dropped her and like a lot of her leaves broke. And so I ended up just putting her in this random glass and she's been living in it ever since. But it's like this ombre tip succulent that I got from this plant pop up and
Ooh.
it's beautiful. But yeah, you guys, I'm telling you, plants are so it's like the most amazing thing ever to like see a plant growing. Like a few days go by and you're like, oh my God, this is a new leaf, this is some new growth. Like
Yes.
it's good.
I remember when I first planted, we planted from like seed like actual baby plants. We didn't start with seeds because we planted too late. But like just the speed and like amount of growth was insane. Like
Hmm.
the before pictures from the first day we planted them to like 2 weeks later, it was crazy the difference. And I was literally I lived to see like a new leaf or like a
Mhm.
new flower or something. Like, oh man, it's just great.
Mhm.
Yeah, even if you
Mhm.
don't have space for a garden, like go to Lowe's and get you a little succulent, like get you
Mhm.
something small because
Yeah.
it's fun.
Even if you get like a little planter and plant like two herbs in it, like
And you can feed yourself. Like it's cool.
yeah, it's really great to like there are days where we'll come up with like we'll go down to the garden and pick our stuff and we'll come up with like 12 different pieces of food that we didn't have. It's literally so mind-blowing. I know that sounds like so privileged to me, like, oh my gosh, free food from a garden, but it's like I never had when I was younger or in a teenager or in college or in a like I always lived in places that was an apartment complex or living with my parents and I never like did have a garden. Now I'm living in a house with land. So it's like I can do that as an adult and it's so rewarding and so fulfilling,
Yeah.
honestly.
If I ever have kids, I'm definitely gonna have like a garden and we're gonna grow that shit. I'm gonna teach them how to nourish and
Hmm.
shit.
Get you a hoe, get you a shovel. Our next door neighbors, they have like 40 different vegetables growing, and I see them encouraging their kids to, like, hey, go get some rosemary, go get some thyme, hey, go get some of that fruit. They were gone for 3 weeks on vacation, and we sadly took like because they were like, take whatever you want from the garden, and they only had two Japanese eggplants grow, and we took them.
Damn. Are those the long ones?
Mm-hmm.
Are they good?
Yeah, they're very yummy.
Cool.
They're like completely they're like a light purple and they're pretty thin. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're great.
that's cool.
Anyways, enough of the niceties. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty,
All
the
right.
topic for this week's episode. So, Courtney and I, we had our little deep fry meeting a few weeks ago about like what we wanted to talk about. Oh my god, she's so comfortable. If
I
you're looking at
am.
the Patreon, like she looks so comfortable right now. We wanted to sort of talk about how I think a lot of the things I really want to talk about with Courtney is the way that we're all changing during this time period. I feel like ever since quarantine started, ever since March, I have felt this immense amount of growth within me. Like I am so oddly better with my finances, with my money. I haven't been seeing a therapist, but my mental health has been a little better. But then there are some days where I feel like all that goes to shit. So I think it's sort of like I think it's sort of just up and down a lot, and I think that's okay. That's like very acceptable. It's acceptable as it is to have like mental health be sort of shaky here and there. It's so totally normal for your mental health to be down, up, in the middle on like a regular schedule, regular days, but especially during a global pandemic, I think it's okay to sort of give yourself not just a little bit, but a lot of grace. I mean, what would you say, Courtney?
Yeah, I think so. Like this is like the most challenging and like weird and like hard time in a lot of people, well, all of our lives because I mean, at least nobody our age has lived through like a pandemic like this. So, I mean, it's literally changing everything about how you do anything like on a day-to-day basis, you know? Like at least, in my experience, like it's totally changed how I work. It changes how I think about who I want to hang out with, like what I can do. Like everything is different. So, you're going to have to adapt to that and it's going to be weird and challenging and it's very isolating, because the best way to stay healthy is to isolate yourself, which
Hmm.
is just it can be a double-edged sword because, obviously being isolated is lonely and then I don't know, like I think we talked about this before how we are very understimulated like when you're isolating for so long and you see like only two people regularly, like you just don't have the same stimulation and your brain is just like I don't know, it's like what do I do?
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Like, I remember basically from like March till now, like, well, I sort of have been slowly starting to see people like reintroducing people back into my normal life. Of course, at a social distance type of relationship. But for like, I think like March, April, and May, it was just like me and my two roommates, and that was it. And it was just like really weird. And because I didn't see my family probably for like the first 2 months of quarantine, and then I slowly started to go, and I'm still very slowly going over there and just obviously keeping my distance and staying outside. But yes, what I was saying is with all these different changes, I feel like becomes or brings new ways of living, like you just said. So I sort of thought for this episode, we would talk about how our relationships changed with our parents, and even more just how we've grown with people around us and stuff. Like how has our relationships have, was it regressed or they've grown. So I remember in the start, honestly, it's so hard to remember life before all of this. Like honestly, like even right now talking about it, it sort of feels surreal to think about the last, like a year from now. Like say the 12th. Oh my god, bitch.
It's August 12th.
1 year ago today I moved into this house. Uh-huh.
Period.
Period.
And you're
And
gonna be there for another one. Well, maybe.
I mean, I'm trying to find a sublet, but it's becoming very hard. Oh my god, what? What?
Whoo, bitch! I just got like the worst muscle like
Oh
spasm.
my god,
Holy
bitch.
fuck.
I thought I was gonna have to take you to the hospital, baby. Not on live TV.
You
You guys
tell
should have
you
seen her face. You should have seen her fucking face. She looked she was dying in pain.
well,
Oh my
if
god,
you
can I tell
saw
you?
her on the Patreon, you'll see it.
Yeah. But if you're not, then you'll just have to take my word for it. Before we get into it, I just want to say I always struggle for some reason chewing like stringy things. I feel like I don't chew them enough.
Like
Like
celery?
yeah, like celery, like cooked like arugula, like cooked spinach. And I was alone eating breakfast and I was having like a really stringy, there was like like the string around like a piece of turkey.
Yes.
Yeah. So I start choking, and I haven't really choked like this in a while. I start choking to the point where I'm like dry heaving, and it was really fucking scary. It was like a solid like 15 seconds of me not being able to like
Because
breathe.
of a turkey meat string, bitch.
I couldn't get it down and I couldn't grab it. I was like literally digging in my throat to find it. And I was like, oh.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, it was really awful. And I was home alone, and I literally just had to like spit all my, it was literally so disgusting. And it was like the first time where I was like, I could have died.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't pull that bitch out from my throat, I probably would have killed myself because I couldn't figure out how to breathe.
Yeah, that's
Even
scary.
though it wasn't necessarily blocking my
Airflow?
esophagus, I still was like gagging. I don't know. Anyways, it was scary. I don't know why I
How
just
did
said
we
that.
get onto that?
I had to share that because I haven't told anybody and it's been really pressing me
Well, that's traumatizing, honestly.
a little bit. And I literally, my heart was beating so fucking fast. Like I
Yeah.
thought I was gonna have a heart attack. I was like, I had to like sit there and just breathe. I was watching The Umbrella Academy, had to pause it. It was too much.
I've
Anyway.
choked like that at Korean barbecue. Like,
I don't mean to laugh, but fuck.
cause
And a
the
public
cause some of the meat be stringy, dude, and like seriously, I really thought I was gonna throw up. Like it was part of it was in my mouth, but part of it was just hanging in my throat, and I couldn't
Okay,
swallow it.
that is the tea. Here's where we slip up. Is when you're chewing your food and you swallow some of it, but some of it stays in your mouth,
It
and the
hurts.
string is hanging down the back of your throat while still being like near your molars.
Yeah, so your body thinks you're choking, and it tries to make you like throw up.
Yeah, because like that's where your gag
And it's
is.
like, no, I'm in the middle of a restaurant.
Oh my god. No, but I made a scene. Like this was like I literally like got up, started going.
I almost made a scene in that restaurant. I thought I was gonna choke. Child, anyways.
Oh my god.
Anyways.
Oh my god. Wait, what? I saw this thing on TikTok where this guy was like, white people be like, Chile.
Haven't you seen that video of that girl going Chile? And then someone commented and they're like, it's child. And she was like, oh my god, I've been saying it wrong for months. First of all, okay, I don't know if I just grew up like around a lot of Black people, but I have always heard them say that, like, my whole
Yeah.
life. This is not a new word for me.
I
And
think it's a Black Southern
and
thing.
none of these, like, African American vernacular words, like, I've heard them all, and I'm like, "Is this, like, a word people don't know how to say?" Like, it kind of blows my mind when people don't know what "child" is. It means
Yeah.
child.
Yeah. Yeah, it means,
Like,
like, child, like, when we go, "Ooh, child,"
yeah,
like,
like an
that
old
is
Black lady, "Oh, child." Like,
I think that's also, like, Southern people in general say that too,
yeah,
right?
because they don't pronounce the
I
words
could
as
be wrong.
well. But,
Yeah.
like, I don't know, I just it seriously blew my mind. I'd never thought about pronouncing it like chili. I'm like, "How do you get that from child?" First of all, bitch, if you know phonetics, it's not chili, it's child. Like, pronounce the word, sound it out.
Yeah, like, with
Child.
the it doesn't have the
Or
thing,
schwa.
the chile.
Yeah.
What's it called?
I don't know, I call it a schwa. I don't know what it's called.
Schwa. But yeah. Anyways, back to what we were talking about. I'm sorry, y'all. But yes. So I'm gonna name this episode "Choking at Korean Barbecue."
Choking on stringy things.
Honestly, the meat, like the bulgogi.
Yes, that's what it was. It was bulgogi. You know that shit, like, it's got all that connective tissue.
Yeah,
Ooh,
but
bitch,
guess
now I
what?
wanna eat bulgogi. That shit's good, though.
I miss going to Korean, like,
If
or some
there's
restaurant.
one thing I miss, it is Korean barbecue.
How do you think Korean barbecue is like? Are they doing like a takeout thing, maybe?
They always have takeout, but I'm sure they're just, like, socially distancing, whatever, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Probably using disposable shit.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. So, girl, child.
Back
Anyways,
to the topic.
Chaile. Anyways, so relationships with our parents since quarantine. Courtney, you have seen your parents a few times. I see my parents like mostly every week. I'll go over there like maybe once or twice a week. I must if I'm gonna be living over there, it's gonna be all the time.
Yeah.
But how do you think your relationships with your parents? Well, first of all, we've talked about on this podcast our relationships with our parents before,
Yeah.
but to give sort of like a 3 sentence summary, remind the viewers what exactly your relationship with your family was like growing up.
Okay, I'll just give you, like, the whole spiel because,
Okay.
I mean, it kinda goes with how my relationship with them is now. Like,
Hmm.
it's all tied. And actually, I thought about this when I was in therapy the other day because this was, like, mostly what we talked about because basically, my roommate had COVID, like, a month ago, and so I had to,
Flee.
telework, which is, working on your computer from home. So I decided to go to my parents' house, and I ended up being there for, like, 2 whole weeks, which I haven't been to at my parents' house for 2 weeks in years. Like, I don't go for that long, and there's a reason. And that goes back to my relationship with my parents.
Wait a minute. Weren't you there for 3 weeks?
No, just 2.
Okay.
2 whole weeks.
Okay.
3 weekends, 2 whole weeks, though. So basically, like, my relationship with my parents, when I was growing up, it was, like, fine and normal. Like, I wouldn't say it was super strong or super weak. But once I kinda moved out and started, like, getting to know more people, doing my own thing, me and my parents have a lot of ideological differences in the way we think and our opinions on things, which kinda drove a little bit of a wedge between our relationship because it's hard to be super close to someone when they don't support the things that you support and believe. I'm not saying that everyone has to believe the same thing, but in my opinion, there are some basic, like, core beliefs that I
Hmm.
think make you a shitty person and I mean, not to, like, be that bitch, like, "You're shitty if you think this," but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, there are some things that if you believe, I'm like, "Okay, you don't give a fuck about other people." Like, that's
Yeah.
obvious. So, like, that was kinda how my relationship with my parents was, like, I would say, like, through college and through the past year, like, and it really started getting, more intense once Black Lives Matter protests started happening and, human rights and civil rights
Can I
became.
also say that I think when you started seeking therapy?
Oh, yes, that's another point. But
Yeah.
anyways, whenever the protests started happening, like, obviously we started talking about that stuff more, and they made their stupid opinions more known. and like
Child.
Kaylee said, when I started going to therapy, which was like last November, or no, last September, it's almost been a year now. But
Mhm.
that's when I really started to dive into my relationship with my family and realized that there were a lot of things that I never just thought about before that really affected me. And it kind of painted my parents in my mind in a negative light because I just felt like I didn't get a lot of what I wanted to get or needed to get like growing up from them. Um which we're slowly working on that now. But so all that to say is my relationship with my parents was okay and then kind of shitty and then, kind of just neutral. Like it was never great, never great, but never horrible. And then when I went home for the like 2 weeks while my roommate was sick, some shit just clicked, and I was like, wait, like I actually like my family. Like I don't know, I had this idea of them in my head, which I think because I live so far away from them and I never see them, I think it's easier for me to like disconnect and be like, oh, those people,
Yeah.
they're like not who I associate with. But
Uh-huh.
going home and being with them, like it just made me realize like I actually like love and enjoy my family because I actually had some good conversations with my parents and they were actually like listening to me and like I don't know, like we started to do some work a little bit of I mean,
Mhm.
what I would call work. They didn't know it was work, but I was I was doing work secretly.
And that's a therapy term that
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people don't get is like, "We're getting the work done." It's like, "Huh?" Like, yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
it's work.
Like we're doing
It's
work. It might not be literally working, but
yeah, yeah,
it's just having those conversations and talking about some things that
yeah.
needed to be addressed. And I feel like I don't know, I felt like almost like a kid again. Like my parents were there and there was nothing for me to worry about because I had them and I had my sister and I had my brother and I don't know, it made me feel like I was a kid again and I was just really happy. And now like I
Mhm.
think every single day I'm like, when can I go home next? Like it's
Ooh.
crazy.
Girl, let me tell you though, was it 360, 180?
What? 360. Wait,
It's a
180.
360. Okay. The 180 that you made from just like even like 6 or 7 months ago is crazy because you were so anti your parents when you first started therapy, just as I was.
Yes.
So, yeah. So basically, growing up, like to preface it a little bit, growing up, I didn't know this growing up. I realized all these things like when I started therapy when I was 21. Wow, I've been in therapy for
3
almost 4
years?
years. It's going to be going, oh my God, wait, in January it'll be 4 years.
Well, you haven't
Wow.
been in a while.
Girl, shut up. The last appointment I had was May. Leave me alone.
It's August.
Girl, I gotta save
I
money.
know, I know, I know. Oh shit, my
And
phone's dying.
I have tools. I literally have tools to help me. You know what I mean? Like my therapist has given me tools when I am not in therapy.
That's good.
Um so anyways, growing up, I didn't know this at the time, but I think my parents were very emotionally not available. And I did not receive a lot of the parenting that I think I needed. Obviously, I don't know if, like, obviously, I can't tell you now if it would have been better or worse if I got what I wanted now back then. But I definitely needed a special kind of parenting. Like, I definitely needed more attention. And, like, just as I grew older, I think a lot of that started to manifest a little bit of resentment inside. And then when I was 21, I started to go to therapy, realized that my parents were kind of whack jobs as parents. But they did try their best. And so, kind of since then, have been holding grudges against them here and there, trying really hard to let them in. And I think the one thing quarantine has taught me is definitely boundaries for sure. Growing up, I didn't have boundaries and I had no idea what boundaries were, had no idea what boundaries looked like. Like there was no type of privacy. It's weird because my parents expected so much from my sister and I, but they provided so little. And when I meant like they gave us, when I say provided, they provided us physically with a home, food, clothes, just yeah, just like the essentials, right? We got those and we were lucky. But like emotionally, they because of their personal traumas and their backgrounds, they had a lot of problems. They had a lot of like mental and emotional issues that they never dealt with. So a lot of that got projected onto us. And I think they wanted us to give to them, but they never wanted to get, you know, give. They wanted to take and not give, I think, when it came emotionally. So I think I was a little traumatized and scarred from that, which as an adult trying to learn boundaries is very hard. And I think I have learned sort of with like COVID, it's like you have to have those boundaries. And I think that's also trained me to have boundaries in my everyday life. Like as a 24, almost 25-year-old woman, it shouldn't be this hard to like have boundaries with people, but here we are. Please show your children boundaries. That's all I have to say. Um and I think
Can I ask
deep
you
down,
something?
sure. Oh, wait, say that again?
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
What do you mean when you say boundaries for the
Um
listeners out there?
okay. So like for example, even just like less than a year ago, like right after I moved out, I would go over there and sort of expect them to be a certain way or act a certain way or expect them to be changed people just because I moved out, but obviously they're not. And I would feel let down and sad when they would like act up or say something stupid or just be, just like be how they usually are, which is kind of toxic and weird at times. Not all the time, just sometimes. And I think for me, I needed that mental boundary, like knowing, I think it's helped knowing that if I go over there, they could still be kind of shitty and weird. And I just have to know, it's just taken a lot of practice for me to be like, okay, that is not my responsibility. How they act and how they treat each other is not my responsibility. And that right there is a boundary in itself. I'm not going to take responsibility. I'm not going to take however my parents treat each other on. Like if my dad says this thing to my mom says this thing to my dad, that is not my fault. I cannot control what they say. Girl, you look dead.
I'm tie.
I'm like, damn, am I really boring
No,
her
I'm
to
listening.
death?
I'm just looking at your face.
Yeah. So yeah. So it's like that kind of stuff, or when they're like, hey, can you come over? I'm not gonna like rearrange my work schedule to go over there. That's another boundary. I'm like, no, not today. I've learned to say no a lot. A lot is really good. But during these times of quarantine, it can be really hard, especially when you don't see your family a lot and they're lonely. Like my dad's an essential worker, so he's gone all day. And my mom is teleworking, so she's just home a lot. So I think it's very easy to be like, hey, yeah, I'll come over. And there have been times that I have done it and then I'll stay an hour and leave. And that right there in itself is a boundary because I know they probably would love for me to stay all day. And knowing my old self or knowing how I grew up, I probably would have given into that, but girl, not this time. Staying an hour and then we're jetting. Let's ride. Doom, 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 doom.
Let's ride.
So yeah, it's like really small things like that that can make a world of difference in the relationship with whoever's in your life. Um,
So kind of like taking control of like your like relationship a little. Like being like, yeah, I am an equal and I can set these boundaries to make myself feel more comfortable.
yeah, exactly. And I think when I'm able to be like, I will be home at some time this week. I'm going to let you know when. And like saying those like definitive like yes, I will not be coming today, but I will let you know when I am coming. And when I tell you is when I'll be coming. Like, you know what I mean? It's like that kind of definitive answers kind of sets boundaries because I would let my parents like sort of persuade me into being like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do it.
Mhm.
And like sort of just have like, feeling like I have to give in to them. But you don't have to do that, especially when you're financially dependent. And yeah, and you live on your own. So it's like it's kind of been freeing a little bit, like sort of testing those boundaries. And I also, my parents recently sold their house, and I think it was like the day before we moved, because this house what has been a family house since like it was like my great great grandfather built it. It's been my on my mom's side of the family for so long, so it was like really fucking sad and bittersweet to sell it. And we've had the same neighbors like growing up, so I went over to the neighbor's house to sort of chat and say goodbye. And she was sort of the one, we got into like a pretty deep talk, and she was the one that basically told me like, you have to take control over your life. This is your life. Like whatever happens in your life, like your parents aren't gonna like, she basically was like saying like, think about it in the perspective of your parents. Like when something happens to you or you're having an issue, like are your parents like gonna fix it? Like no, like you're gonna fix it. Or like, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to come running to you when you say, hey, come over, why don't you come over? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like sort of treat them like that. Like if they're going to be like that, because like I'll be like, hey, do you want to come over to this house? And they're like, no. They're like, why should you? Why should we go over there?
Well,
But
why
it's
should I
like,
come over there?
okay, like exactly, exactly. It's like the same thing. It's like, why should I come over there? So it's like sort of try to see it from their perspective as well, and sort of just like take control. She was like, you need to take control over your life. Like they are not living your life, and you're not living their life. Like there's like you just gotta live your own. You gotta live your truth. You gotta live yourself, and it's so simple. And I've definitely heard "live your truth" before all this stuff, but I'm like, ha,
I was gonna
okay.
say, I feel like I've told you that before.
I feel like you have definitely. I don't know. It was such a weird conversation because I've known this lady since I was literally born, and like I've known her family. They've had like 4 or 5 kids. I don't really remember how many kids they got. They're all grown adults. So she has been an empty nester for like 30 years because they're all like adult, or 20 years, or like adult children. So I feel like what she said was pretty accurate. Just like she's just like, you have to do your own thing at some point.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't just be a straggler in your parents' life. She said
Mhm.
that. You cannot be a straggler in your parents' life. You can't just be like behind the scenes of someone else's life. You have to be, oh my God, wait, what's that the hair thing? You have got to start romanticizing your life. Think of yourself as the main character. Bitch, think of yourself as the main character.
Honestly.
Hmm.
Dude, let me tell you, I've been like, so I told you guys last week I was reading that book, You Are a Badass. And I haven't been reading it as much this week because I've been pretty busy, but some of the stuff that I've reading in there has really inspired me to just like say fuck it and do whatever I want to do. Because at the end of the day, like I'm not gonna remember like the shit that I worried about or like the shit that people said to me. I'm gonna remember like what I did for myself and like
Mm,
if I was, if I went for something and it worked out well, like I'm gonna be so proud of myself. So I've been like, doing that shit at work, like trying to, actually get more involved and like find things that I enjoy more and like find a mentor and all this stuff. And I gotta say, it's exciting. Like,
yeah.
it makes me very nervous because I get nervous doing things that I've never done before because I worry so much about what other people think or
Hmm.
like I have really bad problems with that. But it's weird because I don't care about what other people think in the rest of my life, only when I'm at work. Like it's
Mm.
very strange and I don't know why.
Do you feel like you do that because you feel like that's where it counts the most? Like if you lose a friend in your real life, you're like, okay, whatever, I'll just find another friend. But with work, it's kind of hard to say, oh, I'll just find another job, because you really can't
That's
do that.
true. Yeah, and I don't know, I just have this like complex where like I want to I want like my supervisor to like think I'm great, but like I don't want to do anything to make her think I'm stupid. So like I get scared to do anything.
Mm. I feel like that's a lot of people in the workforce,
Yeah.
especially young people who are sort of like, this is like their first real job out of college, or their first big person
Yeah.
job, big folk job.
Yeah.
Make it gender neutral.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, but
my I went to the dentist today and he was so cute, but that's not the point. But he was like, I was telling him how like I'm not actually an employee at my job. I'm technically I have a fellowship. And he was like, well, hey, you got to start somewhere. You got your foot in a really great door. Like, give yourself some credit. And I was like, you know what? You're fucking right. Like I did. I
mhm.
do have my foot in a really great door, and I'm gonna utilize this door. I'm gonna open this bitch. Why?
I'm gonna break the
I'm gonna
hinges
break
off.
that bitch down because I need money, honey. But also I want to enjoy my life. So
I mean, yeah, there was a point. There have been times where um you know things have gone on in our personal lives here and there, and a lot of it sometimes has to do with our work environment. Like, I
mhm.
know not just you, but so many of my friends who are so crippled by their work life that they can't do anything else. Like, they just can't turn off, whether it's they can't turn off in the afternoon. They like their mind is consumed by their work, and it is just so fucked up that we live in a world that favors that.
Yeah.
That, like, it's like, oh my god, you can't stop working, you're a workaholic, you work 80 hours a week. Oh my god, that's like praised.
Yeah.
That's
It's
sick.
like
Like, no other country in the world does
yeah,
that.
it's like it's insane, like honestly. Like I'm glad that I don't like where I work, it's not like that. Like I can work, I can get my work done and if I leave a little early, it's okay because I'm gonna get my shit done and people know that. But
Mhm.
like in other industries like business and like stuff like that or like it's
Sales.
very fast moving, like it's very toxic. Like I would hate to work in that kind of job where like you are expected to work more than you're actually paid for. Like
Yeah.
fuck no. Unless you're going to pay me more, then I'm not working more. Like
Yeah,
I'll
like, sales is so
yeah. And
cutthroat. Like, you have to work in order to make commission, and
yeah.
it's like, if you don't work hard, you're not gonna get commission, so, like, there's that.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
like
I have friends who
um
do it.
what was I going to say?
I don't know, bitch. What are you gonna say?
Oh, I was going to say like a lot of like studies and stuff like have shown that like when you work like that, you're actually less productive. Like
Yeah.
you need to like have control over your life and like work shouldn't like take it over. Like I don't
And a
know.
lot of people don't because their bosses or their
Yeah,
companies are just driving them in the fucking ground. I'm telling you, early grave. I gotta fart. Hold
not
on.
for me. I will not let my job drive me into an early grave.
I know that's literally what it is. That's what, like, a lot of, like CEOs and, like, law people, I don't know, shit, Wall Street. I don't know, but I honestly think that shit probably is so toxic. Like, who the fuck wants to be on Wall Street? Like, the image that pops into my head when I think of Wall Street is like papers flying, people running around, clocks ticking. That's
Yes.
like like the cartoon version of like what Wall Street, like, that's
Yes.
what it is. Like, fuck that.
Hell no. I'm
I
gonna
want
have
to sit down
work-life
and drink
balance.
coffee. Yeah, I know.
Work-life balance,
Um
baby.
I was also going to ask Courtney, since we're now not veering when we actually just did, how do you think your relationship with your friends have been during quarantine? Because I know that can get a little touchy
Yeah.
here and there, especially when you and I both know we have a lot of friends, not a lot, some who don't really take quarantine as seriously as I think you and I do.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact that it very much depressed me and struggled me when I would have to say, or I was struggling mentally with saying no to people during a global pandemic, which is something you should never do. But I would just be like, oh, once again, I do that thing. I need to, like, I have such a hard time. Like, this is all the boundary shit. It's coming back to haunt me. I wouldn't know how to set I don't know. I still, well, especially in the beginning, I wouldn't know how to set boundaries with people during this pandemic. Like, even now, like, obviously people are starting to let up a little bit on the quarantining and stuff like that. But it's like I'm still struggling with trying to find a boundary of I am not comfortable being in this setting with this amount of people.
Yeah.
I still would love to come, but I'm not going to. And instead of being like, no, instead of saying that, I'm like, oh, I don't know, I'll let you know. Like, no,
Yeah.
you got to set a boundary.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling with
Just
that.
say
But yeah,
no,
how do
ho.
you? Hell no, ho. What do you think?
So for me, most of my friends have been pretty good. Like they're not going out and like they're not doing shit with like a lot of people. So I really haven't struggled with saying no. Because no one's invited me to do some stupid shit like go eat in a crowded restaurant. But like that hasn't been a problem. But I think just like, the lack of like hanging out and like that I'm used to. And I mean, one of my favorite things to do is just go eat at a restaurant and just fuck around for like 2 hours, but I can't do
Mhm.
that because that's fucking unsafe.
I would love to dig around at some Korean
Yes, like,
barbecue.
I was just talking about that with my friend Peyton, how much we miss eating together,
Uh
just,
huh.
like, talking and eating, it's, like, the best thing.
Oh, talking and eating is. God's gifts to this world.
Yes.
I love to eat and I love to talk.
Yes,
Like,
exactly. And
it's two of my favorite things in the
And
world.
I just it's been taken from me. It's just I can't. So like I found, I'm fine with I'm also like pretty chill, so I don't mind hanging out at people's houses, but I do miss going to restaurants. So
Yeah.
I mean, that has been sad, because basically all I do is just go from one person's house. Well, I usually just go to one person's house, but
Yeah. I don't even do that. I'm like afraid of that, honestly. Like I'm afraid to go into people's houses.
oh, well, you should probably start doing that.
Going into people's
Unless there's a
houses?
lot of people.
I don't know. Like like I have some friends who aren't really social. Like they're still going to work, going to the gym, stuff like that. Like eating outside, going to outside breweries, like not definitely not taking it as seriously. And it's like going to their house, even if I'm wearing a mask, still
Well,
kind
going
of
to
scares
their
me.
house, yeah, but other people that are being safe. You've been to my house a couple
Yeah,
times.
because you guys are fucking
That's what I'm
safe.
saying. I don't go to people's houses that are out being wild. Like, hell no.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it though. It's like you
Yeah,
want
it's
to
like
hang
really
out, but
hard.
like it's like I can't hang out with you because you're being stupid.
Yeah, it's like how am I supposed to say you're the problem?
Yeah, it's awkward.
It's so awkward. It's like I love you as a friend, but you are not taking quarantine seriously. Therefore, I cannot hang out with you because I don't want to put myself. Because also, mind you guys, I'm also going to my parents' house too.
Yeah,
Um, and my parents are in their 60s. Like my dad definitely has asthma. My mom's a smoker, so it's like even more terrifying if I don't know how I would live with myself if I was asymptomatic and I brought it to
yeah,
them. Or like if I had a mild like if I had like mild symptoms I didn't even know it. Like there's some symptoms that are so mild you don't even like
yeah,
you're not even aware. So it's like how can I maintain those relationships with people while still trying to protect myself and the people that I love? That is I think that's definitely a rhetorical question. I don't think there is an answer for that, but I guess just trying to learn cuz I hate when people say this is our new normal. I mean, it's like so weird to say, but it really is. Like trying to navigate life and still like be happy, trying to navigate life during this time and still have friends and still do things that you love is really hard because it's like where do I step, how do I know if I'm crossing a boundary,
yeah,
how do I know if this is going to make this person uncomfortable? Dating, that's hard.
yeah.
Like how did like if I go on a date with somebody, how do I know they're not going to try to like make a move?
Girl,
Bound
I couldn't even imagine putting my lips to another human's lips right now.
you know what I mean? Like what if and that's where that boundary, that's where that communication comes in because
Yeah,
it's like you want to go on a date with somebody, you're like, hey, just letting you know, like we definitely don't need to be within 6 feet of each
yeah.
other.
That's just something you gotta communicate because,
Yeah.
bitch, if you try to touch your lips on my lips,
I don't know where you've
I
been.
don't care if you've been isolated in your room for 6 months. I don't want your lips on my lips right now. Like, just the
Honestly,
thought of
no.
being
Mhm.
within someone's like personal space
Oof,
without a
no.
mask on right now is terrifying and gross. And I think I already told you about this, but this tweet, like, I related so hard. It was like, I love wearing masks. I can't believe I let y'all breathe your air on me. Like, I relate because if you think about it, our breath, like, it actually goes really far. So, like, if you're
Mhm.
just talking to someone like this, like, you're gonna get like germs.
You're gonna get
And bitch,
coronavirus.
like, I love the mask because you don't have to worry about that. Like, we love the mask in this house.
I love my
Like, I had to
mask.
wear my mask all day at work, like, and it's fine. Like, I don't
Mhm.
have any issues, and I love it
And I love it.
because I feel safe.
It doesn't restrict your breathing like all the boomers
It
say it
does not
does.
restrict my breathing, and it does not hurt my
Yeah.
ears, and it does not irritate my skin.
Yeah. My roommate wait, what mask do you use?
I use a blue, like, medical mask, which you can
Mm.
get on
Is it
Amazon for, like, $20 now. They're back in stock. That's where
yeah.
I got mine.
I FaceTimed my mom today and she was wearing one of those medical grade ones, like reusable ones, like at the hair salon.
Yeah, they have to wear masks.
I was like, girl, why are you at the hair salon? Number one,
Oh,
bitch.
she needs a haircut, I guess. I don't know.
She said, my grades are bad. I'm like, mom, stop it with that. It's just a
Honestly, I
natural.
need to get a haircut, so I might be heading over somewhere soon.
Oh my God, bitch. Have y'all seen my hair? It's sick how long it
It's so
is. I
long.
really want to do, this is so butch of me, This is so gay, but like a undercut in the back,
Didn't you already
just to make
do
my
it?
hair.
Didn't you
What?
already do that?
A little bit, but I want to do it all the way.
Oh.
Yeah, I like could feel like a little bit. I like just tried it. Like one night I got zooted and booted, and I was like, I was home alone. I'm like, what if I just try it? And I just did like a little
You
bit.
did that while you were zooted and booted.
Girl, yes, I did. I would not do it when I was sober.
You cut your hair sober before.
Girl, but that was a mental illness.
Oh.
It's like the same thing as like a drug. You know what I mean? Like when you're mentally ill, you can't think
It's like
straight.
when you're
So,
so low, you're high.
anyways, bitch, I'm getting
Me too.
hungry,
I'm
and I think
starving.
this episode needs to end. So I think this was a really great episode. I really hope you guys, you know, can just give yourself some grace. If there's anything you need to beat your meat to this week, is really just
Boundaries.
to boundaries and just really just giving yourself a lot of grace and time. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check us out on Patreon and Instagram. Oh my god, let's do this. This is, what is that? The K-pop people do
Oh,
that? Yeah.
this.
Yeah. All right. Courtney, any last words?
Be happy, bitches, because that's all you can be.
Sometimes I don't wanna be happy. Bye. Bye.
Deep fried.